History remembers empires as symbols of glory, power, and civilization. Their monuments rise high, their flags wave proudly, and their leaders are often praised as visionaries. But behind some of the greatest empires ever built lies a darker foundation, a structure held together not by truth, but by carefully crafted lies, propaganda, and deception. This is the story of the empire built on lies, a system so powerful that it convinced millions to believe in an illusion while hiding the cost paid by countless innocent lives. One of the most powerful examples of such an empire was the British Empire. At its height, it controlled nearly a quarter of the world's land and population. It presented itself as a force of progress and enlightenment, claiming to bring education, railways, and law to distant lands. But beneath this narrative was a different reality, one of exploitation, resource theft, and cultural erasure. Colonized nations were told they were being civilized, yet their wealth was extracted, their traditions suppressed, and their voices silenced. In places like India, the empire claimed it was modernizing society. Railroads were built, but primarily to transport raw materials back to Britain. Local industries were weakened so British goods could dominate the market. Famines devastated millions, yet grain exports continued. The public image was one of benevolent rule, the hidden truth was economic control and strategic dominance. This was not accidental, it was deliberate manipulation of information. Across the Atlantic, another example unfolded in the rise of the Spanish Empire. Conquistadors claimed they were spreading faith and salvation. They justified conquest in the name of religion and crown. But behind these claims was a brutal system of forced labor, destruction of indigenous civilizations, and the relentless pursuit of gold. Entire cultures were wiped out under the banner of divine mission. The empire's story celebrated heroic explorers, while ignoring the suffering that funded its wealth. The pattern repeats throughout history. Empires often rely on control of narrative. When a government controls what people hear, read, and believe, it controls reality itself. Leaders create external enemies to unite their citizens. They exaggerate threats to justify wars. They rewrite textbooks to glorify conquest. Over time, the lie becomes accepted as truth. Even in the 20th century, we saw how dangerous this could become. The regime of Adolf Hitler built a terrifyingly efficient propaganda machine. Through speeches, films, and carefully staged events, the government crafted a narrative of national humiliation and promised restoration of pride. The result was mass support built on distortion and hatred. Millions followed, convinced they were part of a righteous cause, while the world moved toward catastrophe. This is the ultimate warning of how powerful organized deception can be. But why do people believe these lies? The answer lies in fear and hope. Empires offer security in uncertain times. They promise prosperity, pride, and belonging. When people feel threatened or powerless, they are more willing to accept simple explanations, even if those explanations are false. A repeated message, delivered confidently and constantly, becomes familiar. And what is familiar often feels true. The most successful empires understand psychology. They build grand architecture to symbolize permanence. They host parades to display unity. They reward loyalty and punish dissent. Over time, questioning the empire feels like betrayal. Silence becomes survival. And the lie grows stronger. Yet history also shows something powerful: truth eventually emerges. The British Empire declined as independence movements rose across Asia and Africa. The Spanish Empire fractured as colonies demanded freedom. Totalitarian regimes collapsed when citizens finally saw through the illusion. Empires built on lies may appear invincible, but their foundations are fragile. Once the narrative cracks, the structure begins to fall. The real lesson of the empire built on lies is not just about the past, it is about the present. In the modern world, information spreads faster than ever. Social media, news networks, and digital platforms shape perception instantly. The tools of propaganda have evolved, but the strategy remains the same: control the story, control the people. As viewers and citizens, the responsibility now lies with us. We must question bold claims. We must seek multiple perspectives. We must understand that power often protects itself through carefully constructed narratives. History teaches us that blind loyalty can empower injustice, while critical thinking can protect freedom. Every empire wants to be remembered for greatness. But true greatness is built on justice, honesty, and accountability, not deception. The monuments may stand for centuries, but the truth outlives them all. Because in the end, no empire, no matter how vast, no matter how feared, can survive forever if it is built on lies.